Yo, what's going on everyone? Jinsula here with a brand new Pokemon GO video, and today we're going to be talking about the positives with max battles. Now yesterday I uploaded a video talking about one particular negative with max battles, and I do think that when it comes to this system, it is actually really well designed, minus that one little thing. But I really do want to talk about the praises that Niantic deserves when it comes to how they designed max battles, because overall, I do think this is a very good thing for Pokemon GO, and it's something that I think anyone can enjoy. Ever since Max Battles was first introduced a couple of days ago, I've been very much engaged with this new system, mainly because I do find it to be incredibly fun. On top of there being a very dynamic battling system that actually involves some planning and strategy, I do think that overall, Niantic is onto something really good here. Doing max battles is actually a lot of fun, and can get kind of grindy at times, I totally understand that, but I do think that when it comes to collecting these new Dynamax Pokemon, Niantic implemented a system that's actually fun, and for what it's worth, I actually do think this is evidence that Niantic does have the potential to implement cool things into Pokemon GO. So what are the positives with this new system? Well, the first thing I wanted to talk about is pretty obvious. You do not get spoon-fed any Dynamax Pokemon. Other than the introductory Wooloo that you get, you will have to put in a lot of work in order to get a collection of Dynamax Pokemon. You first have to collect max particles, which, let me remind you, is completely free to get, and then you use those max particles to engage in max battles. And if you can defeat those max battles, then you will have a chance at catching the Dynamax Pokemon that you just battled. You could then use those Dynamax Pokemon to battle other Dynamax Pokemon and repeat the process. In my opinion, I think this system is incredibly well designed. It's very simple in its execution, and then on top of that, it's essentially a lot of engaging free-to-play content. And that's something we need to appreciate, considering that there is no monetization behind this new system, and yet you can get the most out of it. I really do believe Niantic deserves praise for that sort of game design. The only concern I have is that there is a hard limit on how many max particles you can hold, and you can only get a limited amount per day. This leads me to believe that in the future, Niantic might implement some shady monetization practices, because as more Dynamax Pokemon get released through this system, there is a chance that you will require even more max particles than you can currently hold. So that could potentially be an in-app purchase that you will need to make in the future. I mean, hopefully Niantic doesn't go that route, but we really have to wait and see. Now, the other big positive with max battles that I do think deserves a mention is the fact that it comes with its own progression system. Every Dynamax Pokemon you catch, you could power it up in various ways using max particles. This means that you're constantly engaged with the Pokemon that you catch. It's not just about powering up those Pokemon and evolving them, although I'm certain that that will help. It's all about managing your max particles so that you could get the most out of the max moves along with the max guard and max spirit abilities. I mean, as of right now, those are the three abilities that every single Dynamax Pokemon comes with, but I do think in the future when they introduce Gigantamax Pokemon, they might change things up a little bit to make it a lot more interesting. Gigantamax Pokemon are actually quite unique in that, just like with Mega Evolutions, they come with their own separate form and a bunch of different abilities. So I do think that for those Pokemon, there's going to be a huge push to get them because they will likely come with their own unique benefits. And there is a chance that you might be able to use them in other forms of gameplay, like with PvP and raid battles. Now, the third and final praise that I want to give to max battles is the simple fact that it feels like a polished and a feature-complete system. And I think that's huge because everything that Niantic has released over the past couple of years has been a broken mess, or it's something that feels like it's missing a lot of features. And I feel like with Dynamax Battles, it's the complete opposite. They released it in a way where it feels like nothing is missing from it, and I think that is a huge thing that we need to celebrate. I mean, probably the only thing that Max Battles needs right now is a much higher catalog of Pokemon that we can encounter from these new Max Battles. But aside from that, I do think this system is complete. There's nothing problematic about it, other than maybe that reward screen button, which I already complained about in a different video, but I do think that this system is complete, and there's nothing necessarily missing from it. Seriously, it feels like forever since the last time I felt like anything Niantic released into Pokemon GO was feature complete and in a polished state. I mean, let's just think about some of the stuff that Niantic released over the past couple of years. Let's first look at routes. That feature had a lot of potential when it was first released, but it came with a lot of bugs and glitches, and it was essentially feature incomplete. And the reason for that is because it relied heavily on user-generated content, because every single route in Pokémon GO is created by the players themselves. That means that some neighborhoods would have absolutely no routes in their area, because any route that was created during the beta process took forever to get approved by Niantic and actually implemented into the game. So that means there were plenty of players out there who wanted to try out routes, but they just simply could not do so. And it would take several months before routes would start appearing in the game. So yeah, that was an example of a failed launch, and it's very different from how it feels with max battles. Another perfect example is, of course, party play. That is another feature that had a ton of potential, but Niantic essentially launched it in a rush state. There was a lot of features that players just simply did not care about, and the reward structure was something that left a lot to be desired. I think the only utility behind party play was the bonuses to your attack damage when it came to raid battles, but aside from that, players felt very little motivation to engage with this system. So yeah, if we were to compare max battles to other systems that Niantic implemented recently, I think it is in a much better state, and it just goes to show that Niantic is capable of actually releasing good content in Pokemon GO. I mean, the sky's the potential when it comes to max battles. We're gonna have Gigantamax Pokemon sometime in the future, and we really do not know what kind of impact those Pokemon are going to have on Pokemon GO as a whole. It could be exclusive to just Dynamax content, or it could be something that can be useful in raid battles and PvP. We obviously do not know right now, but it is something that I am hoping for, because I think the big problem that most players had with the new Dynamax system is that anything that you do with Dynamax is going to be exclusive to just Dynamax, and you can't use those Pokemon elsewhere in Pokemon GO. But regardless, I still feel like they did a really good job with Dynamax Pokemon as well as with max battles. The system just feels great, and it's a lot of fun to engage with. I mean, yeah, you're not going to be getting yourself exclusive Pokemon from Dynamax battles or collecting Dynamax Pokemon, but it does feel like something different. And since we've been playing the same exact game for the past several years, I think that's a welcome addition. Some players will say that it is a gimmick or something that they just simply do not want to engage in, but the fact that it is free-to-play content and not a necessary requirement to get ahead in raid battles or PvP right now, I think this is something worth looking into. It's definitely a lot of fun, and I think Niantic did a really good job, and we need to give credit where credit is due. But in any case, that's going to be it for this video. Let me know your thoughts regarding max battles and the new Dynamax Pokemon system down below. Are you enjoying max battles, or do you feel like this is something that you just simply do not care about? If that happens to be you, I would like to know your thoughts. Definitely share them in the comments so that we can have a great discussion. And thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of this video. If you ended up enjoying it, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And also don't forget that little bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And I want to give a shout out to all of my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support the Jinsula channel, then the best way you could do that is by joining my Patreon. If you choose to do that, you will get a permanent spot on my in-game Pokemon GO friends list. So if you want to play Pokemon GO together, then make sure you go and check out my Patreon. And if you want to support the channel in a completely different way, you could do so by following me on social media. My handle is @Jinsula. I'm on the platforms that you see on screen. Make sure you go over there and give me a follow. And yeah, that's going to be it for this video. But real quick before I end it, I do recognize that I haven't been showing my face recently when it comes to these videos, and the reason for that is quite simple. I got pretty worn out from my trip to Utah, and I feel like I need a bit of a break from doing hardcore editing. So I found it to be easier to just record my voice and put up a bunch of images and gameplay over it. So I totally recognize that this form of video content may not be as compelling, so eventually I will be showing my face once again. But yeah, thank you for staying with me along the way, and I really want to know if you actually enjoy this form of content. If you do, make sure you mention it in the comments below, but if you miss seeing my face, then also mention that as well. But in any case, that's going to be it for this video. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all later.